You're here because you want to know how to become a runner in 2024. How do you do that? And what is
cadence, pace, shin splits, intensity zone, easy run? Which gear do you need? Which shoes should you wear? Where do you start? How do you start? What do you need? How do you run?
Keep watching and I will answer all those questions and so many more. We have all run as children and some of you still run to the bus, but that's not being a runner. That's one poor time management skills and that's a whole different topic. Here today I'm talking about running as exercise, whatever it is to have fun, lose weight, just to work out or for your mental health. To start you need to go outside. If it's this beautiful of a weather it might be super easy for you, or if it's raining or you don't feel like going outside you can always use the treadmill at the gym, then you start running. Easy, isn't it? Well, there's more than that. Let's talk technique and form. Having the right form is very important for reducing injuries, but also for having the energy to run the meters, miles or minutes that you actually want to. Let's talk form. What is a good runner for? With good, I mean the one that prevents injuries and uses the least amount of energy required to keep running. These things will look a little different for everyone, but the basic techniques are the same and applies to all of you. Keep your shoulders up, back and relaxed. Your chin should be up, leading your chest. Gently lean forward with your upper body, engage your core and slightly push your hips forward. And your face should be relaxed. My favorite thing to relax my face and the whole of my body while running is actually to smile. Another way is to blow up your cheeks to relax your face. You should always look forward. Obviously, you should not look backwards unless you are in a highly trafficked area and need to cross a road or something like that. That's a whole other thing. If you want to look down, you should just move your eyes and your chin should keep upright. You don't want to restrict your airways and therefore we will keep the neck long in a neutral position. You want your airways open so that you can get as much oxygen needed for your cells and muscles to keep on running. A common mistake that many make are running with tense shoulders uplifted to your ears, and this will cause a lot of neck pain and shoulder stiffness. So relax your shoulders and your hands should be swinging by your sides or your hips. They should be swinging back to front like this. A side-to-side movement will take a lot of momentum and uses a lot of extra energy and slows you down. Proper back-to-front movement and momentum with your arm will help you when you get fatigue and help you get those extra miles and minutes in. Your hands should be open and no closed fists. This isn't a boxing camp, this is running. Both having your hands in this position, which is very good if you're sprinting fast, or having your fists closed will use a lot of energy that could be needed for your legs later on. You need to engage your core. I will show you how I look when my core is engaged while I run and while it's relaxed, and you can look at the difference. Remember, you have a gentle lean forward with your upper body and your chest is up, your chin, leaning your chest. So you want your hips a bit forward. You don't want them pulled back. You don't want to like squeeze your glutes to the extreme. Just to push your legs and upper body a bit more forward. Think about running as falling forward. You will take a stride and another, but you will like keep on falling. It's like a satellite orbiting the world. It never falls to the ground. It just keeps on going forward. And this is the same principle. You will fall in a controlled way, aka running. Your knees should be slightly bent the whole time. This will help you with a softer and more controlled landing, which gives more flexibility to the joints to bounce back from the ground. And as long as you aren't sprinting, don't lift your knees too high. Keep them in a very neutral position. Moving over to your feet, let's talk about overstriding. Overstriding is landing too far front of your center of gravity. This is approximately in your hip area depending on your body composition and if you're wearing a heavy backpack or not. When you overstride, you land so far from your body that you will actually have a braking force and your next stride stride needs more power to take you forward and keep on running. Overstriding can also cause shin splints, which is pain around the chin area, or cause runner's knee, which is pain around the kneecap, which can prevent you from running altogether. It can even cause stress fractures in your legs and ankles. So how do you prevent overstriding? Well, there are a few techniques. Increase your cadence and power of the stride instead of the length of the stride if you want to run faster. More on this later. Having a proper form, so the things I talked about earlier, is also a big factor in not overstriding. You should focus on foot placement. Landing on your heel is a very common sign of overstriding, which will also cause the backward motion. Try to land on the ball or the mid part of your foot rather than your heel, and it will be much harder to overstride. Every runner needs to do run-specific strength training. This is inter alia for strengthening your hip flexors, hip rotations, your core, your knees, and your ankles and calves. More about run-specific strength training in a later video, so to not miss out on that, remember to subscribe and push the notification bell. How to know if you're overstriding? One way is to film yourself inside on a treadmill and analyze the footage to see if you are landing on your heel or if you are overstriding. Another way is to go to a physiotherapist or a personal trainer that will do the analysis for you. Let's talk about pace, cadence, and strides. I mentioned earlier that you should take shorter strides, increase your cadence and the power of your stride instead of the length to run faster. But what is cadence? Cadence is the number of steps you take in a minute. So you can also film yourself on the treadmill again or use the same footage and count what your cadence is. Film yourself for 1 minute, then you just count how many steps you take in that minute. Having a higher cadence with a powerful stride will decrease your pace. So what is pace? Why do you want the pace to decrease and not increase? Pace is the time it takes you to run a certain distance. It is often mentioned in minutes per miles or kilometers. So if you, for example, run 1k in 6 minutes and 13 seconds, then your pace will be 6 minutes and 13 seconds. A longer step or stride length will decrease your pace, but you remember it will also increase your risk of overstriding. The faster you run, even if your stride is powerful and your cadence is high, your stride will become longer because you will be able to land under the center of mass instead of in front of it because you move faster. So a longer stride isn't always bad. It's really relative to how fast you are running. Next, talk about running zones. So most of your runs, that means 70 to 80% of them, should be easy runs, which will be ran in intensity zone 1. What is this intensity zone 1 and how does this make a run an easy run? I think it's very important for a beginner runner to understand the difference between these two. So let's talk about intensity zones first. There are 3 intensity zones and there are 5 to 7 heart rate zones depending on who you're talking to. Intensity zone 1 is your aerobic zone where your cells uses oxygen to function. You will be running at a pace where you can keep on a normal conversation. So you can talk about your day, you can talk about your favorite snacks in details. Your muscles and cells are working on oxygen, so this means you can stay in this zone for hours depending on your fitness level. Let's move on to intensity zone 2. Here you should not be able to carry on a whole conversation, but you should be able to talk. Intensity zone 2 starts where your aerobic thresholds start to get into a more anaerobic thresholds, which means your cells don't get as much oxygen as before. This is where lactic acid starts to build up, and 10 to 20% of your training should be in this zone. Intensity zone 3, I will call this your hit zone. This is where the cells in your muscles start to work more or less without any oxygen, and this is where only 5 to 10% of your training should be. Moving on to the heart rate zones. Heart rate zone 1, this is where I am right now, I hope. It's your like everyday life zone. It's under 70% of your max heart rate. It's like the normal heart rate. Heart rate zone 2 and 3 are pretty much equal to intensity zone 1. Heart rate zone 2 is where you could easily be carrying on a conversation. You could stay here for up to 3 hours. Heart rate zone 3 is somewhat intense. You should still be able to speak, but your sentences are getting shorter than in a normal conversation. You can stay stay in this zone for around hour and a half. Heart rate zone 4 is your threshold zone. This is where things are getting really intense. You can still say a few words here and there, but it's getting really difficult. You should be able to stay here for up to half an hour. This is equivalent to a speed run or a HIIT session. And the heart rate zones 5 and up, they are very close to your max heart rate, and you should only be able to stay in these zones for a few minutes or even just a few seconds. As a beginner runner, both intensity zone 3 and heart rate zone 5 and up, maybe 4, you shouldn't be thinking about this because they are not on your level yet. You will get there, but never start there because you will crash and your motivation will go out the window. I will be referring to the intensity zone 1 when I talk about zone 1, unless mentioned otherwise. Staying in zone 1, it's like the beginner friendly zone. This is the zone where you improve your steady state pace. Your steady state pace is the pace you can keep for a long period of time. Working in zone 1, your steady state pace will get faster and faster with time. Always, no matter the workout, if it's a speed run or easy run or long run, you should always start in zone 1, so the lower part of heart rate zone 2. You need to pace yourself in the beginning of your run. This means that you need to check that you actually aren't running faster than you should be. You are just warming up both your mind and your body to get into the mode of running. You can pace yourself by using a smartwatch, or make sure you actually run at a very easy pace for 5 to 10 minutes or maybe 1k or 1 mile. Remember, all this is for your own good. You always want the start of your runs to be the slowest. When you start slow, it's much easier to actually naturally pick up the pace and end with a faster pace. This do not mean you need to end fast and start slow. It just means you start your slowest and end your fastest. I live in a very hilly city. There are uphills and downhills everywhere. So my runs usually starts at a very slow pace, but that might not be my slowest pace due to all the uphills and downhills on my route. Downhills are actually harder to run with a correct form than uphills. Before you get your form right and are sure that you are not overstriding, I would recommend that you actually walk downhill, at least if it's a very steep hill, because running downhill puts a lot of pressure on your legs and your joints and causes a lot of injury if you do not run them right. Let's circle back a bit from the hills. What do you do before you go for a run? You warm up. Warming up before a run, that might sound super silly to you. Like, isn't the run in itself a warm-up? And didn't I just say to always start out easy because you need to warm up into the run? Well, this kind of depends on what did you do before the run, because if you have been sitting still or not actually working out your muscles and joints, it's very important to warm up before you start running. And yes, I said muscles and joints. Warming up is the best form of prehab. You're not only warming up your body, you're also warming up your mind and getting into a more of a workout or running mindset, which also will help you actually go on the run. Here are a few strides and stretches which I like to do before I go for my runs. I don't have any specific order in which I do this, but I tend to start with warming up my hip joints by doing rotations and swinging my legs from side to side before moving on to my glutes and legs. I do both unilateral movements, so movement focusing on one leg at a time, and bilateral movements such as squats and squat jumps. I recommend warming up your ankles and calves as you will be using these while running, and don't forget those shoulders and sides. And take some easy strides to get your body used to the movement. Now over to the fun stuff. Gear. Running is one of the few sports where the only thing you need is yourself. Having the right gear is there to not just prevent injury, but also to motivate you and to just get better at running. So the one thing all runners should invest in is a pair of shoes. Good running shoes. They don't even have to be good, it just has to be actually running shoes. Shoes made for running. Running shoes are an investment in the well-being of your feet. They also prevent a lot of injuries that you might get if you run in normal day sneakers. This is because running shoes are engineered to running, while everyday sneakers aren't. They are both formed and cushioned in a way to help you run better and to give better support to your foot and actually your joints too, depending on the shoe. This one, it's a carbon plate Nike Alpha Fly Next 2. It actually makes you run faster. For a beginner runner, having any kind of running shoe is just the way to start. For beginners, I would really recommend these. They are the Nike Pegasus 40. I think they have come with the 41 and there's also the 39. I'm a Nike kind of girly, but you can even buy the unbranded grocery store shoes or Hoka's, Adidas, Asics, any brand that you know on, and that's good for your feet. For example, Nike make very narrow shoes. I think they have a wider model for some of the shoes, but for me with narrow feet, these are just magical. More on shoes in another video because I need more running shoes and I want to bring you guys with me. These I have run like almost 600 Ks in. I really need to change them into a new pair, so I will make a video on that later on, so remember to subscribe. Okay, I would really advise you to get a running rucksack or a running vest. So a running vest is, well, it's a vest. You can use a running backpack or a running vest at any distance. I don't care if you run 500 meters or 50 Ks. I don't care, you can use one. They are super good for having your phone, wallet, keys, snacks, water and some extra clothes. I really recommend to get one of these. You do not need a watch. You can just use your phone. I have the Apple Watch Series 4, I think. I have had it for 3 years now. It's very good. I really like it, and because I'm a Apple girly, it connects to all my other devices. I can just have it like this and go for a run. I don't need my phone with me and it tracks like everything I do. A phone on a run or a watch on a run is not a necessity. If you feel like, oh no, I really want a watch, then go for a watch. I really recommend getting a pair of sunglasses. You can start off with just normal sunglasses, but they might fall off your head while running, so then you can just buy any pair of like cheap runner sunglasses. Like, I would love some Oakleys, but I think these cost $20 or something and they are super good. You don't need to buy anything fancy just to protect your eyes. Also, what I don't have here with me is a cap for sunny days. If you're running in cold weather, a headband or a runner's hat, preferably made out of wool and a breathable material. So don't get a normal hat or normal headband, but try to get one that's actually made for running and training. When it comes to clothes, try and find some breathable materials such as nylon or polyester, or in colder weather I love running with wool or a wool mix. I prefer merino wool both on my head and as a wool shirt in the wintertime, and in the wintertime I love my running vest. This is weird because yeah, this is a running vest, but this is also a running vest and they are different breeds because this is a backpack running vest for your snacks, while this is a actual vest but it's made for running. This is the Lululemon Another Mile vest. I absolutely love it. If you buy a running glove, I really recommend you to buy one where you can actually like take off the upper part, so when you start running you will be colder, but the more you run the warmer your hands will probably get. And then you can also have one that has like open fingers if you get really hot. So aim for something breathable, something for your eyes or and head, and you're ready to go running. So now you know how to run, how fast to run and what to wear. Now to the question you actually might have: how do I stay consistent? Anyone can go for one run, maybe once a year, but how do you actually become a runner and stay consistent with it? My tip number 1 is make it fun, and tip number 2 is make yourself accountable so that you actually need to go for a run. Some ways to achieving this are: use a running coach or plan. My absolute favorite is the NRC, the Nike Run Club. It's free and has plans for 5Ks, 10Ks, half and full marathon, and I have used almost all of them. They have a lot of guided runs and different coaches. You can also use the NTC, the Nike Training Club, to get in some runner-specific strength training. You can automatically connect this to your Strava, and I also have it on my watch. So when I press start on my watch, the runs get tracked, then upload straight to Strava. If you don't know what Strava is, it's like a social media platform for runners. So you can upload all your runs, but also other kinds of training like bike training, strength training, swimming. Then you can connect with your friends or follow creators. You can get some motivation maybe from there. Yeah, you can follow me on Strava if you want to. I will link it down below. And another app that I actually haven't tried, but I want to know what all the fuss is about, so I will do a review on this one, and it is the Runna app. So if you want to see me try out Runna and give it a review and track my progress, another reason to hit that subscribe button. Where is it? I don't know. It's somewhere depending on your device. Runna has distance-based running training plans up to ultra marathons. It's not free, so it's very good that they have included so many different distances. You can also have a custom-made plan. I think it's then based on how fast you have ran distances before, like a 5k or half marathon or something like that, and then it will create a custom-made plan for you. So I really want to try that one. You can also hire a personal trainer or running coach. I actually did this. I had a personal trainer, and thanks to him I learned that I overstride. I'm so glad I had my personal trainer actually tell me and analyze my stride and said, okay, you have to take half the distance of the stride that you are taking, and I have had no problems with my strides, with my knees or anything like that. That has been due to my running, and I'm so happy I actually got to talk to this personal trainer, because otherwise I might still be overstriding. Find someone who teaches you the right technique, because the right technique and form is so crucial to not get injured. My favorite coach is the Nike Global Running Coach, Coach Bennett. So I always try to listen to his guided runs on the Nike Running app. Moving on from having a coach or a plan is to create a running playlist. You can create your own or use pre-made. Spotify has a lot of pre-made running playlists which are based on BPM, so beats per minute, aka cadence, as we learned earlier. I really recommend this, because if you want to get into a certain cadence, then you know, okay, this playlist is for this type of cadence. So if you hit your feet on the ground with every beat you hear, then you know, okay, now I'm running with this cadence, now I'm running 160, now I'm running 140, or now I'm running 175. So I can really recommend these if you want to listen to music while running. You might have some songs that are very upbeat and you have them in the start, then you run way too fast in the start of your run, and you know that's not how we're supposed to do it. We need to start easy. Next thing I will recommend is to run with others. You can either run with a friend or join a local running club. I have actually never been to a running club. I will try and go to Anna Archer's, which is on the 4th of August this year, I think. I would really love to go to that one. So things like that, because then you feel more accountable to actually go and do the run. So a running buddy is a really good option if you feel like, okay, it will be hard for you to actually get on the run. One thing you can also do is run on tracks or field or in a park where you know there are other people running. Then you kind of run alone but run with others, so then you are more accountable to actually get there and do a run. Those were some things that will make you more accountable to actually go on a run and make the run fun. Another thing I want you to focus on is your nutrition. Running is a sport where your energy and motivation is very related to your nutrition. If you haven't eaten before a run, you will have very low energy, also have very little mental strength to motivate yourself to go on a run. Always eat prior to a run. Try to get in some good carbs such as oats, potatoes, or whatever you like. Always try to eat before a run. More on this later. If you go run on a full stomach, then you will feel super heavy. You will feel the food bubbling in your stomach and wanting to get up. So that will also unmotivate you to actually do the run and go for a run. You should eat a bigger meal between 2.5 and 1 hour before a run. A smaller snack 30 to 45 minutes before a run. Try and get a snack or a proper meal in as soon as possible after, preferably not later than 45 minutes after you have finished your run. This is for optimal results in the training, but it's also because running takes a lot of energy. You will be drained and really need that energy back in your body to function for the rest of the day. Stay hydrated both before, during and after the run. Drink right after a run. I'm a water kind of girly, but actually chocolate milk is apparently by accident proven to be one of the best recovery drinks for a runner or an athlete. So drink that chocolate milk or anything else, just get that fluid in your body. This is also why it's very good to have your running vest when you do longer runs, because you need to hydrate along the run. It's something like when you lose 1% of water from your body, you lose 10% of performance. So stay hydrated. Get enough rest. Learn to listen to the cues of your body and knowing when to rest. If your body says, no, not today, I'm tired, I need at least one more day of good quality rest and good quality nutrition, then you listen to your body and you don't go running. When you're a more experienced runner, you can maybe ignore some of these clues and do a super easy run, but when you're starting, an easy run is actually a much harder run than for someone who's been running for years and runs a weekly mileage of 30 or something. Remember that your mind is stronger than your body. So say kind and positive things about running, and especially your running. And now you might say, but I hate running. And you will continue hating running as long as you tell yourself that you actually hate running. Instead, stop saying that you hate running or don't enjoy running or that you are a slow runner or that you're not good at running, because these things, you will manifest them because you think about them so often and so much, they will become and keep being a reality. Instead, start saying things as, I enjoy running, I will become a runner, I really enjoyed today's run, I get to run, I can see true improvement in my running, I'm so happy that I ran today, and I can't wait to run. This shift in mindset will actually start making running more fun and something that you want to do instead of something that you have to do. And smile during your runs. Remember that I said smiling during my run is one of my favorite things to do. It does not only relaxes the muscles in my face and the rest of my body, it also helps connect my mind to, okay, this is something that we enjoy. We are smiling while running, therefore we enjoy running. Don't take things too seriously, and remember, things take time. Running might be something that you will do for the rest of your life, and a 5-minute run is as valid as a 5k or 50k run. Walking is not cheating. If you can only run for 5 minutes and then have to walk for 5 minutes to stay in zone 1, then that's what you will do, because staying in zone 1 is really important for actually enjoying running and not pushing yourself too hard. Because if you push yourself too hard, you will get fatigued, you will think, running is so hard, running is so tough. No, running is very fun when you actually know when to push yourself and when to just take it easy, relax and enjoy yourself. Remember, the more you do it, the more you will want to do it and the more you will start to love it. So I hope I will see you on your next run with a great form, no overstriding and a smile on your face. And for more running content and daily uploads, go check out my Instagram. I post on my stories almost daily, and go check out my TikTok where I post a few times a week. And once again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, there's more coming.